Hey guys, Tony here. So I got my hands on the all-new TurboAce AllSteady 6 gimbal for a little shoot that I'm working on over the weekend. Currently, at the time that I'm making this video, there's really no balancing video, or not, pretty much none, since this gimbal is still new and people are starting to get their hands on this particular gimbal. So I thought, let's take the opportunity and show you guys how easy it is to balance the AllSteady 6. The AllSteady 6 it does feature toolless adjustments. We have thumb screws here for the tilt axis, we have thumb screws for the roll, and also little finger screws, or thumb screws or finger screws, whatever you guys want to call it. I'll call it thumb screws, but yeah, that's pretty much the correct term for it. And also some screws for the pan adjustment here, so it's all toolless. However, if you are using a large heavy setup, for example a rigged out 5D with large lens, heavy lens, follow focus systems, I would recommend you to go, purchase some cheap tools. You can get a little toolkit from TurboAce, or you can even go to Walmart, whatnot, and purchase the cheap Allen key sets. That way you can actually torque down the screws so the heavy setups does not, move on you when you're using it. For this demonstration or this video, I'll be using a GH4 with a 12-35 lens, so you really don't need to use any tools because it's a very, very light setup. Also, if you have a quick release plate, just makes balancing a gimbal a lot easier. So if you have one of these plates laying around, very good to have. I picked up this plate from TurboAce. It's from what I heard, it's a Manfrotto compatible. So it's compatible with the 577 and also the monopod. I believe it's a 501 or 511, one of them, but it is compatible with the monopods and the tripods, and it's pretty much like an industry standard. Pretty much anyone who's been shooting with the larger setups, the 5Ds and stuff, the Canons, Nikons, will have this Manfrotto plate because it's a very nice setup, and it works, and it's very good because it's adjustments here, which I'll show you guys later on the close-ups. So in order to balance the AllSteady 6, you have 3 axes that you want to balance in a particular order. I'll probably repeat this a lot throughout the whole video. Is you always want to balance the tilt axis, which is this one right here. Second, you want to balance your roll axis, and last, you want to balance the pan after you've done the tilt, roll, and then you go to the pan. Don't balance the pan first, don't balance the roll first, because if you do, your gimbal will never be properly balanced and you're going to wonder why your gimbal doesn't work. It can vibrate, it cannot hold, or it just may not function correctly at all. So you always want to balance in particular steps. 1, tilt. 2, the roll. And third last is the pan axis right over here, which is this adjustment right over here. So before you install your camera, make sure you have your lens cap removed, make sure you have a filter. So if you're shooting outside, for example, you want to put an ND filter or else everything's just so overexposed. So make sure you have all of your accessories, all of your gear on there. Set your focal length, for example, if you're shooting, depending on the lens. I know the 5D with the 16-35, it's all internal focus, zooming right here. So everything's all internal, so the lens does not zoom in and out like the 12-35. The 24-105 and the 24-70, the Canon lens does zoom in and out like this, so make sure you have your lens set for the correct focal length, or else when you balance it for example on this camera 12, and then you're like, you know what, I want 35, you put on 35, now you have too much weight in the front, so make sure you have it all adjusted properly before you mount it. Also too, since the camera is off, I like to just go ahead and make sure I have my settings correctly, because it's a lot easier when you're holding the camera to make sure you have the correct exposure, make sure everything's all set and good to go, because sometimes when you have it on the gimbal itself, you have all of this to worry about, and sometimes it's hard to access the dials, the buttons, and look through the screen because it's being blocked by the roll bar or some of these accessories up here. So let's go ahead, let's get a closer look and dig in, and I'll show you guys how easy it is to balance the tilt, roll, and the pan axis on the AllSteady 6 gimbal. Alright guys, so now let's go ahead and let's get a closer look on how to balance the tilt axis, which is this rotation on the tilt axis right over here. So first you want to grab your camera. Since I am using a quick release plate, you want to go ahead, loosen here, and take out the plate. And this particular plate that I'm using can only go in and out one way. It's a nice safety feature. Go ahead, loosen up this screw over here. So I like to use the far right slot over here, or if you're looking from the back to the front, it would be the left side. Just pretty much in this video, it's on our right. Go ahead, install the quick release plate, tighten down. So a lot of guys like to use, maybe a coin or something flat. I like to use a tool because a tool will allow you to, properly torque down this plate over here to prevent it from slipping. So sometimes a coin doesn't give you enough torque, and then when you use your hands, with a little coin, this plate can actually slip during use, and you wouldn't want that if you're on a very important shoot. Go ahead, torque it down, double check it, make sure it doesn't rotate on you. So now, let me go ahead and loosen up here and just pretty much mount the plate to the bottom of the camera. Depending on your plate, some plates can only slide into the base in one particular direction, so make sure you have that in the correct direction too. So for example, this is the 577 Manfrotto compatible, so it only goes in this one. If you can see the groove. If you have one of these plates, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't really put it in backwards because it won't lock into place. So now we'll go ahead, loosen up here a little bit, slide the plate onto the base. And now what I'm gonna do here is just pretty much check the horizontal balance. So the tilt axis is broken down into two steps. We have the horizontal balance, which is the forward and backwards, and we have the vertical, which is the up and down on this tray over here. So you want to start with the horizontal. Now you just want to get the horizontal pretty much somewhat level. If you're like this, you're too front heavy because the lens is falling down. If you're back heavy, this is what it looks like when you're back heavy. The back is facing down. You just want to get it somewhat where it stays nice and level. A little bit back heavy. Let me go ahead and move it forward. And you can see this is the beauty of having a quick release plate. It makes adjustment a lot easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lock this down for now. As you can see there. Now let's go ahead. You can see when I let go, it rolls to the side. Don't worry about the roll axis just yet. Just leave it the way it is, and let's just balance the tilt axis. So now you can see the vertical is just this up and down movement right over here. So if I tilt the camera and I let go, you can see it wants to fall towards the bottom. If I tilt it like this, it falls towards the bottom. That's telling me that I have too much weight on the bottom of this tilt axis or vertical section over here. So what I gotta do is loosen up these 4 thumb screws. Now do not remove these thumb screws completely. You just want to get it somewhat loosened where you can slide it up and down like so. Also, you can see we have a top screw here, which is the shoe mount. We'll go ahead and get this adjusted. Loosen up these screws here and get this adjusted up a little bit. And TurboAce does call this a 3D adjustable mount. It's okay, it goes left and right and up and down, so you don't have to use tools on the side here. But this is why I also bring tools along, just in case I do have to change cameras. If my, if the boss says, hey, I don't want the GH4, I want you to put a Nikon on there, or I want you to put something else on there, and if the camera's taller, you would have to actually bring up this tray here so you can see it's all adjustable here. But for doing, small cameras or around the same size, you only have to adjust these little thumb screws over here. But yeah, let's go ahead and slide this in place. This is the top lock, and we just lock this in right here. And since I have my tool, this is pretty much an example of your first time balancing. I will go ahead and just loosen up here, just to show you guys exactly the way I balance this AllSteady 6 gimbal. Pretty much all gimbals, it can be the cheap DYS gimbals up to the more expensive DJI Ronin or even the Movi. It all balances the same exact way or very, very similar. So now, let me go up a little bit looser here. So a trick I like to do to make things a lot easier, or just for you guys to get a better understanding of how to balance the vertical section right over here, you can rotate your camera up like this or facing down, depending on the lens. I know, for example, some lens, for example, like the 24-105 and 24-70 Canon lens, those are a lot longer and it may hit this top section up here, so you will have to go down on some particular lens. On the GH4, I'm gonna go face the lens facing up because it's easier to get access to the thumb screws over here than comparing to the lens facing down. I know I'm repeating a lot of stuff over and over, but this is just pretty much, it's a much easier way for a lot of guys to understand. It's repetitive, repeating the same thing and showing and demonstrating, and it just makes, you know, easier for some guys to learn and understand how to balance a gimbal. So now I'm gonna tilt it up, and just like the horizontal balance where you move it up and down, you can see when I rotate it 90 degrees with the lens facing up, it's pretty much just the same exact way as the horizontal balancing. Just move it back a little bit. You can see we're a little bit better, but it's still falling down. Go again. Oh, I went too far. You can see it goes towards the top or the back, as I would say, on this axis here. Alright, go down a little bit, and sometimes very small adjustment is all you would need. And the good thing about the AllSteady 6, you have little markings on here so you can get a guide. Let me go ahead and just put it at 13. Tighten down both the left side and the right side thumb screws, all 4. I believe I'm still a little bit back heavy on this particular gimbal, but don't worry, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this top tray over here. So now I'm gonna just use my fingers and adjust it, and for this part I'll just put it at the 1 marking for the top bar, just to be a little bit easier here. Use my tool, tighten down, and since this is a 3D adjustment, you don't have to have it where I put it. You can actually put it anywhere. So if you have like a 5D, Nikons, different cameras, A7S, GH4, you can actually set it to you know, to be compatible with pretty much any camera when you swap it if you have a lot of cameras. So now we'll go ahead and check it again. You can see, oh, we're pretty close. Alright, we're good to go. So now that I have that done, oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention too, make sure that the front matches the back marking, and as I didn't check earlier, I'm off a little bit. So let me loosen up that, bring it up to the 1 right over here. And I did say earlier in the video that the AllSteady 6 was a toolless adjustment, but you know, it's toolless, but anytime you change major cameras, you may have to adjust this top tray, which I'm showing you guys how to do right there. So you have a thumb screw right down here that adjusts this shoe mount left and right. Since I do have it locked down, I'm gonna just go ahead, lock this in, tighten down this thumb screw here. And for this part, you can see we have 2 actual nuts here that you can rotate up and down. Make sure you align the top nut flat against this plate here, and the bottom one, you have 2, remember that. Guys, you have 2 nuts, guys, so don't forget. I'm pretty sure you guys won't forget at all. So make sure that this bottom one is pressed against the plate here, the top is against the plate. If you only tighten down the top, what's going to end up happening is you're going to put too much pressure on the top and you're just going to bend this whole assembly. So make sure you look at it, align the bottom and then the top. Once you have that done, use 2 hands, or you can just go like this, whatnot. I like to use 2 hands and just properly torque it down. And now let's check this balancing once again. So right now you can see when I let go, it falls towards the back. Pretty much I'm back heavy. Very simple. Loosen here, loosen up your quick release plate, and just move the camera forwards a little bit. Oh, I moved it a little too far. You can see very small movement is all you need now. Still a little bit front heavy. pretty close. A little bit more. And I think I am still front heavy. Let me go ahead. Alright, think I'm right there. Go ahead, lock it down, and now let's check to see if my tilt axis is balanced. Pretty much wherever I point the camera is where it should stay, so let's see if I got close enough. You can see, I pointed there, it stays. If I point it down, it stays. I point it up, it stays. I point it here, it stays. I think I'm still a little bit bottom heavy, as you can see. Nope, pretty good. You can see it's very, very easy. I am making this video kind of long because I am repeating the same things over and over just so you guys can understand. And to make it easier for you guys, you can see, super simple. Double check. So if you let go and you see it fall towards the front, that means you have too front heavy. If you let go, it fall towards the back like this, you're back heavy, so adjust your camera. Now, if you go point down like this, and then you see it fall towards like this, that means that the vertical adjustment has not been done correctly. So repeat the same process and make sure you do it correctly, and when you let go, it needs to stay where it's at. So now that we have the tilt axis balanced correctly, let's go ahead and balance the roll now. So you can see when I let go, it just falls over to one side. That means the roll is not balanced, and I did make everything purposely off balance for this demonstration so you guys, can follow me through the steps of how I balance the AllSteady 6. So the AllSteady 6 has 4 thumb screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 in the top, 2 in the lower section over here. Loosen them up just a little bit, not all the way. Do not remove the screws, because if you remove the screws, this bracket will come off and this whole assembly will fall off. You just want to get it loose enough where you can slide this tube left and right. I find with this gimbal that you will have to, depending on the camera. The GH4 is a little bit heavy, I guess for this particular axis here, because you're putting a lot of load, a lot of preload in the front section here. So you will have to take one hand and just gently lift it up. So you can see my right hand is on the right bar over here. I'm just lifting it up, and now I'm gonna just allow the tube to slide a little bit left. You can see I'm a little bit close. So let me give you a demonstration. Where you put it is where it should stay. Right now, I think I have a little bit too much weight on the left side, because you can see when I go here. So I went a little bit too far. So now, go ahead and pull it back just a hair. Double check one more time. And I think we're really close. So with the AllSteady 6 gimbal, I noticed that I had to pretty much kind of lift up this tray here when I'm tightening down the screws. If not, these arms would droop down a little bit and you can't properly tighten down the clamps here. So take your hand, you need to lift it up, or what I like to do is just pretty much take my hand and my thumb and just hold it against the top tray here. Oh, let me tilt up for you guys. And just go ahead, pick up and tighten down. You want to tighten down the top screws first. Like so. Do not torque it down super gorilla tighten, just get it somewhat nice and snug, and then tighten down the bottom thumb screws. One thing I do notice too, the gap is a little bit small, so if you guys are wearing gloves, it's cold, or you have big fingers, it may be hard for you to actually grab the thumb screws, so you may want to use a little tool, for example, the cheap Allen key sets. I don't know where mine went, but if you have the little Allen key, the L shape, you can just get it in there and just snug it down. And be careful guys, if you are going to use a tool, do not put Gorilla Force on there. Just a nice little snug is all you would need. And now let's go ahead and check the roll balance. Probably easier for this way for you guys. If I tilt here, it stays. If I tilt here, it stays. Oh, you can see it fall towards the right side. You can see when I go in the middle, it stays, but one thing I like to do is just pretty much shake it a little bit on the stand, or just pick it up and shake it, and it falls a little bit towards the right hand side, so that's telling me that I'm a little bit heavy on one particular side. And it's a little bit balanced here, but when I tilt it to this side, it falls over, as you can see there. So let me go ahead and shift this weight to the opposite side, so you guys are getting a real-time how to balance video. Ooh, hit the camera there. Go ahead, take some of the preload off and push it over like so, and pick it up, tying down here. And they'll double check again. You can see when I go here, it's good. I go this side, it's good. So now the roll adjustment has been properly balanced. So now, once you have the tilt balanced and then the roll balanced perfectly, you want to balance the pan axis. Make sure that the battery is installed. If your battery is not installed, you balance everything, and then you install your battery, your pan is not balanced anymore. So make sure your battery is installed. It doesn't have to be charged, it doesn't have to be discharged, it doesn't matter. As long as your battery is installed, you're good. Over here on the bottom of the pan motor, we have 4 screws. You can go 2 in the front, 2 in the back, or 2 in the left, 2 in the right. Same thing, you got 4 screws. Just take your fingers, loosen them up. Just give it like a nice, maybe half turn. It doesn't have to be, ooh, it's a little bit tight here. It doesn't have to be 100% removed, because if you, once again, if you remove these 4 thumb screws, this section will fall off on you. So just half a turn, back it out. Enough for you to slide this back and forwards, and you can see here. Give you guys a better close up. My finger's in the way. You can see I can move this forward and backwards. So now, oh, my camera moved a little bit. So make sure that you use a tool and tighten down this bottom screw, the tripod screw, or else your camera's gonna rotate. You can see anytime the camera rotates, it will throw off the balancing. So make sure the camera is tightened down. Let me go ahead and double check all my screws here. Oh, forgot to do this part, that's why. Alright, so now the camera shouldn't rotate anymore. That's why it's good to have the top lock mounted onto the shoe mount. So, very simple. Let me rotate here. To check the pan balance, put the pan axis parallel with the handlebar. Just tilt forwards. Oh, I got lucky there. So let me purposely throw it off. You can see, if I tilt forward and I fall towards the front, like that, towards the lens, that means I am too front heavy. If it falls towards the back, let me see if it does fall towards the back. You can see when I lean forward, it falls towards the lower side, that means I am back heavy. Very, very simple. Just move it back and forwards until it's somewhat balanced. You can see. And then I just like to give it a little shake. And I think I'm a little bit front heavy, so let me slide this back just a hair. Alright, so that's there. Go ahead and tighten down the screws. Let me check one more time here. I just lift it up to the side. And then I just tilt it forward. And it's balanced. You can see how easy it was. I did take a little bit longer than I usually do, just because I'm trying to explain and demonstrate how to do it and how I actually do it. And just repeat the same thing over and over, because you guys remember, repetitive, repeating the same thing, it stays in your head, and you guys will remember it for a long time. So you can see, now we have the tilt balance, we have the roll balance. It's very critical that we have all of the axes balanced, because if it's not balanced, your gimbal may not work correctly. And if you're doing a lot of running shots, a lot of active, moving, fast, aggressive shots, the gimbal or the motors will not hold. So that's why it's very important to have your gimbal properly balanced. Now, for example here, if I change the focal length to 35, you can see it falls down. So it's very important to set your focal length correctly. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this very long video. I believe it's approaching like 30 something minutes maybe, so it's a very long, boring video, but I hope you guys found, or if you guys watched the whole video, hope you guys found it useful on how to balance the AllSteady 6. If you guys like this video, click like. If you don't like it or you didn't like it at all because it's very long, boring, and lame, click dislike and leave a negative comment in the comment box below. I'm just kidding, guys. Don't leave a bad comment. It's gonna make my day even worse. But I'm just kidding. If you guys like this video, just click like. If you guys don't like it, let me know and I'll work on it, because I know the video is very long and boring. But like I said, you know, a few times in the video, I like to repeat a lot of stuff over and over, because, you know, the more I repeat it, the more you guys will see it and understand how the gimbal should balance, and, you know, how it should be done when you're balancing each particular axis, the tilt, roll, and the pan. Remember, guys, tilt, roll, and the pan axis. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys later.